Yeah, so, we just released a new MIDI tool today, which will drive a lot of the activity, but also some of the other sonification tools, giving more of a chance to just sort of explore a little more intently some of the image-based capabilities. And as I'm often inclined to do, I feel compelled to start with a little bit of my thinking behind this. I'm always looking for ways to access new ideas creatively, new musical ideas, and a lot of these sonification tools, the latest ones released, have some image capabilities. Capers, tuning in from Brooklyn, hello, welcome. Awesome. Good to see people shouting out in the chat. Don't be shy to ask questions as well as we go. But yeah, so with the image capabilities, we can explore the possibility space embedded in any image file, which might sound pretentious, but there's so much in there, as you'll see today. And for me, it's become like a variant or something almost quasi-related to field recording, because similar to field recording, photographs capture a moment, and there's an essence of the memory of that moment embedded when you use it in your music, I feel. Even if it is, stretched quite far from the original sentiment. And it's been really interesting because since creating these tools, I've gotten back into taking pictures with my phone. I've kind of been avoiding social media for the last few years, got out of the habit of posting stuff there for better or for worse. But it's been really cool to approach the photography in a new way through this interface of creating music from it, and it demands that you look at photography in a different way, because a lot of the things that you would think would be good in more typical image making, such as balanced light exposure and all this kind of thing, are actually what you don't want. As you'll see for these images, you want more dynamic images with unbalance between light and dark in different regions, so you get more interesting waveforms and more interesting musical patterns. What's the maximum image resolution I see in the chat? We are constrained by the same list limitations of other Max devices currently with the current architecture, which may change, but that limits the pixel resolution to 2048. I mean, you can throw a bigger image in there, but it'll get averaged down to a maximum size of 2048. But when you think about that in musical terms, and as you'll soon see with when I get into some demonstration, if you had, say, 2048 notes that were all different notes, Kev, welcome back. Good to see you. That would be, difficult for most humans to recognize as a musical pattern. So I find even shorter or lower resolution images yield more musical results. Now, there are further limitations with data synth, which is where I'll start, because using an audio buffer, we're restricted to 512. And for a variety of reasons, I've actually selected it down to 256. That may change soon, but I've got one image. I'm going to use this one image all day for everything we're going to do, including with the new Photomat MIDI tool that I released today, which I had intended to release along with the Sonification Tools V2 update. So it's a bit of a latecomer. There were some technical hiccups in getting that pushed out, but I'm happy it's out today. And everyone who has the Sonification bundle, it's already there in your account, but it's also available separately. So let's get this industrial rainbow image I'll be working with into the synth. And if you've never looked at this might be some review for some of you who've seen me play around with this before, but this is a photo I took the other day. A storm had just passed and this rainbow had appeared. And I thought, it's a dynamic image. There's a lot of noisy bits, and you can see this reflected in the noise of the resulting waveform. And as I adjust the saturation, the waveform changes somewhat. And in fact, the peaks are reduced because everything's getting closer together in average value. Darkers are getting darker, pixels are getting darker, while lighter pixels are getting lighter. But if I increase the contrast, you'll see those peaks and troughs extend from one another. And the hue balance doesn't really change the waveform so much. That's kind of interesting, though. And it's looking like the Electro vibe I kind of want to go for here. We can play with a bunch of other features in here later, as you know, we're certain to do. But you know, we can also explore using the Y-axis of the image instead of the X-axis. And if we zoom in to a higher, well, to a lower resolution, we can just click and drag to pan around and explore the different waveforms. There's our rainbow. Isn't that nice? Okay, I think I'm just going to try the full waveform for starters, and it's going to be probably pretty noisy. I've already built this little drum kit here, and so now to drive the data synth extracted from that image, I'm going to, of course, use Photomat and drop that same industrial rainbow image into Photomat. And at the default resolution of 25%, it's extracted 102 notes from this. And in the image mode, we can play around with the exact same settings you just saw on data synth. But if we click notes, we can go over to the sonification ranges. In other words, what the pixel values will be mapped to in terms of pitch and velocity and all that. So for example, I often, you know, I think I want this to be a bass line. We'll soon see. But I often like to have my low notes a higher velocity and my high notes a lower velocity. This is going to sound probably like a bit of a mess to start, especially seeing as how I've not done anything for safety. I'm just going to roll the cutoff down on that data synth and bring the volume down. Okay, let's get some filter envelope on there. And I'm going to introduce this sub oscillator. I've heard worse. Okay, so because I've left the what they call the apply cycle, I've left the clip, the image has disappeared, so let me just go ahead and grab it. And let's play around with some other settings on this next version. I'm going to create a bunch of different versions, all referencing this same image. And so for this next one, first of all, let's just reduce the resolution. Okay, and now I could do one of two things to make this more bassy in the notes area. First of all, I'm working this F harmonic minor today. Just thought I'd try something new. Just trying to get that into a lower range. And of course, we're only hearing the first bar of this. I can expand to hear more of the pattern. Nice, glad you're having fun with it, Kev. That's awesome. But let's try to, like, yeah. Now, what I would like to do here is one of two things. Either gate the higher values out. So that's removing values above this 50%. But it might be a little more dynamic and musical. I like some of those notes. So what I'm going to do instead is sonify the pixel values, mapping them to their chants. So I want the lower notes to play like 90% of the time, and the highest notes to play like 30%. Okay. So I want to create a couple more bassline options. I'm not like, well, yes, bass sound could work. Needs a little more resonance. Little FM on there. get a little like random on the FM, and maybe a little random on the filter. Nice and dynamic. Okay. All right, new clip. And this time I want to, so the zoom and resolution you still have access to in the notes mode. Those are available in both modes. And what I want to do here, first of all, let's go back to the image, and I'll just remove all those notes, and let's zoom way in. And we could, yeah, let's set the resolution to where we have a 16 note cycle. And there are different ways to express it as not 16th notes and all this kind of thing. But let's boost that saturation. And maybe the contrast there. Okay, now it's still applied that chant stuff to this new clip. I think just to get a better sense of what's going on, I will set the chance to 100%. And I actually rather like this one. So I'm going to duplicate that to a new clip. And in here, let's just start. So when you're zoomed in, it doesn't work when you're at maximum zoom out of one-time zoom. But when you're zoomed in, you can just click and scroll around in here to navigate to different patterns in different sections of the image. And you get a lot of these continuous runs as pixel values tend to be adjacent to one another from one to the next. Just playing around with that hue a little bit. Okay. So in this case, I think I want to actually zoom out and get something less repetitive. Let's see if we can get this to, well, I don't need to use the last two notes. Get a 32 data point section. And now because I clicked in the MIDI note editor, it starts adding notes on top of it, which can be a cool trick to get polyphonic stuff going on here, but that's not my goal. There we go. And this can also, you know, be mapped to a higher range. But I think what I want to actually do is it's an F, right? So let's see if I can map this to. Now I don't have to stick with just these notes. I can go ahead and edit these notes later on however I like. So let's do this one more time. Let's create one more bass line because this is a lively electro track and I want a few different bass line options. I'll go ahead and rename this image bass. And yeah, let's go here. And what else? Sometimes I have to start and stop. Brief little file navigation moment. So that's another way that you can navigate to files is by clicking the file open there. But I find it easier to drag and drop myself so long as they're accessible. Right, so what was I doing here? Yeah, let's maybe just select, for example, the green channel this time around. And I think I really want to reduce the brightness, which pulls the higher values down, and boost the contrast. And then, you know, what we can do is invert these pitch ranges so that the lower pixel values are represented as higher notes, and vice versa. So we get a similar pattern, but inverted. However, I'm going to now sort of see what else I can find just by clicking and dragging around until I see something interesting. And that's one of the great things about this Photomat is that you can see the resulting MIDI in real time. It's right there, so you get a sense of the pattern that's emerging. Yeah, I think I'll do some rate stuff here so that lower values take more time and produce a resultingly more rhythmically interesting sort of more expressive. And I'll just drop these down an octave. It did the thing where I clicked in there to change the loop brace, but that's okay. This isn't a randomization device, so, you know, although there are all sorts of like seemingly chaotic patterns embedded in the image, it will remember exactly what you had in there because it's drawing off the same image file. Okay, cool. So now I'll go and like bump that one up an octave and see what happens. Same here. But worst case scenario, I think I kind of like these first two bars. So this is one of the other features that's not available with image modes in, say, Data MIDI or Data Mod is the rate sonification, because it's not possible with a real-time clock, unfortunately. But yeah, hopefully you're starting to get a sense of all the information embedded in a single image that we can harness musically here. So we've got a bunch of different bassline options. And I think it's time to add another sound layer. I want to create some percussive pattern. Some of these bass lines definitely better than others, but we're experimenting. There we go. That one is possibly usable. Needs work, that one. But yeah, let's go ahead and continue our adventure with this industrial rainbow image. Again, flip data synth into image mode. And I did, yes, it's true, I did use an 808 kit for the drums. What am I supposed to do here? But yeah, let's go and let's flip this to the x-axis. And I'm going to switch to the luminance mode, or flip to the y-axis, excuse me, and zoom in quite a bit. And I'm doing this because I want this more stark pulse-like waveform. And I'm going to do something similar with the Photomat instance on this track. Similarly, flipping it into luminance mode. And it's quantizing all the values to minimum and maximum. So now we get sort of a two-note pattern. And I want to use this to create something, yeah, very rhythmic. So I think these should be at a higher pitch range. Let's try that. Might be a little too much, but yeah, and I think I'll set these back to single notes. Get the built-in high pass going. Little pan randomization. And I think we need a little FM on this, yes? Now it could get quite annoying, but I seem to recall there's like another couple bars in there. Okay, so I'm going to try another version of this, in which I will ensure all the lengths are quite low, and then similarly to before, reduce the chance of these higher ones. And for electro stuff, you know, it's kind of making sense to have it all 16th notes. Okay, that's something. Give it some room reverb. And we can adjust the waveform in real time. Scroll around here. Yeah, that little shot of the trees there. It's giving some nice noisiness. Yeah, something like that. And then we can reverse the order of the pixel columns or rows. We've selected rows with the y-axis. Okay, a little loud. Let's add some more modulation here. Some random velocity. And maybe a little LFO. So that by default LFOs use the same waveform from the sonification. We can set, you know, sine wave or whatever else you might want right here. But I want to add some smoothing, so it's ramping up and down. Could be. Anything to make it a little more dynamic. Why did I put all that reverb on the bass? That was uncalled for. And I think the bass could use a little more body. Okay. Now I want to create like some kind of pad chord sound. Again, relegated to data synth. We're using this one image for the whole track. I'm going to use Photomat one more time for this one, exploring some longer note lengths. Go back to my images here. Okay, and so now, being a pad, I'll increase the attack and release time a bit. And I will apply some positive filter envelope with a longer decay, and that will necessitate bringing the cutoff down a little bit. We'll play around with the waveform shortly, but yeah, let's go into the Photomat and let's do a different note range, and let's set it to whole notes, two bars long, right? And I'm gonna go really low resolution because I really just, at the end of the day, I'm looking for like 1 or 2 chords here, and I'm still in luminance mode, right? So it's not really doing any chords. But if I go to P, this is the polyphonic mode, which harnesses the red, green, and blue color channels, pixel values, as independent note layers. And now, see if any of these chords are interesting. I see now there's some chants I don't want on there. Let's just put them all 100%. Kind of working, but yeah, I'm going to create another version here so that I can demonstrate this spread value. So you can separate, you know, if the red and blue values are too close together, you can spread them positively, pulling the red higher and blue lower, or negatively with this slider. And you know, maybe well, I like these chords actually, so let's do another one in which I will seek some other chord patterns here, maybe with a different mapping. Cool. Glad to hear some others are having interesting experiences with the polyphony stuff. Okay. Let's try that one. It's going to be a nice long chord progression. Ha! Some really interesting chords there. Yeah, I don't like how the length got expressed, so I'm just gonna try and do that one more time. They're all 2 bars. Huh. There we go. I had to tell it the length again. Okay, that should be a little more civilized. So let's go and spread them out a bit more before I... So I really want the... it's just looping the first note, of course. Okay, so I'm just gonna have to go in here, and I had the length a little too long. I'm just gonna shorten these a bit, tidy it up. Ooh. Nice. That's something. Not sure about that one, but I think if we just take these, maybe move that around. Okay, let's experiment with the waveform a little bit. Bring the red levels down. Let's go real blue-green with it and zoom it in. And this is just using the all or average mode. And now we can sort of use the image not in like a wavetable. Let's make sure we get a bit of rainbow in there. Okay, I think you all know what time it is. It's time for another data synth. However, this time I think I want to explore driving it with data MIDI so I can show something new with the features released today. Yeah, let's get into that. So data MIDI is our real-time MIDI sonification tool where I can grab our image. And wow, that's a spicy situation. All right, so I'm just going to solo this noisiness for a moment. Wow. Questioning the scale key here. Okay, so first of all, let's get this to a different range of notes. I was thinking kind of lead or maybe chord on this. And then I want it to play every 3rd, 16th note. Interesting. There's something off with the scale here I need to investigate later, but for now I'm going to remedy that with no, maybe that's not it. Oh yeah, there's a note here. Okay, that'll be fixed tomorrow. 1 scale degree off. I wonder why. Okay, so that's sounding better. And what I'm going to do is explore this new sample rate feature. So instead of playing all 57, it's playing every other pixel row here. And let's throw it into poly mode, see what sort of chords we can get out of here. Okay, and we can visualize now the current 57 points, and if I enable follow, it's showing where we are on this plot of the pixel values converted to this graph line. And of course, the red, green, and blue channels are visualized. If I turn the plot off, turn the data off. Now, this needs a lot of work, obviously. I'm impressed you all stuck with that as long as you did. Now I want that rhythmic pattern to reset every bar. And I think it needs to go up to a higher value. And let's give it even fewer samples to explore. So you can see it's skipping through roughly every 2. Now let's set that to, yeah, now you can see it's skipping through the whole pattern, selecting different average pixel values. Let's reset it every 2 bars. Actually, let's not reset the data loop, let's reset the rhythmic pattern. Interesting. Okay, I think I want some attack time on here. And a little FM. Let's get a little sine FM on there. Give it a softer tone, a little random panning, a little spread. Interesting. Yeah, I'm not so convinced necessarily, but quick little look at the plot situation there. Okay, let's get more of like a lead sort of thing going on. Oh, you know what I want to do? Actually, is we are going to grab a little data mod and use our image, of course. What else? As a modulation source. And we can view the plot similarly here too. So that's all 102 data points. We can follow where we are. Useful to just better understand what's going on under the hood. But what I want to do, let's zoom in and get shorter cycle. 18, sure, that seems good. Give it some slew. And then I want to map it to the high frequency here. And I want this to go slower, so I'll multiply the 16th notes by 4. And that's a little too much. I want it unidirectional, not bidirectional. So this high range is now opening and closing, giving a dynamic pattern there. So those notes are never being expressed quite the same way. Let's go ahead and map that also to the cutoff. In the opposite direction, so the cutoff goes down when the note range goes higher. And we could also map that, why not, to the reverb. I don't know if that's sounding considerably better, but it's doing something. Okay, so now I want to extract some kind of long form lead. So I'm going to take the entire image file. Yeah. Okay, data synth first. Plucky. And yep, Photomat. Let's get into it. For those of you just tuning in, everything except the drums has come out of this one single image. And so right now the default resolution is 25%, which is giving us quite a few bars, but I'm going to set the resolution to 100%, and let's go ahead and get into our note settings. Again, reduce the velocity of the higher notes, open it up a bit, and then yeah, let's just bring the chance of all of them down quite a bit, and I'll raise the floor even too. Okay, so now we're going to have this long pattern, so long as I open this up, right? 32 bars, just like I planned it. All right, what's going on here? Oh, the high pass is too high. Give it a little glide. That doesn't sound good. There we go. Let's give these a rest. anything, their chance is a little too high still, so I'll just go ahead and select a chance lane. Just bring those down to like 35% seems reasonable. Modulate the panning of the image. I mean, yeah, definitely. So, oh, you mean the zoom panning? No, that's not currently available for automation, I'm afraid. Like this? No. I might look into that in the future, but currently not. Rots. Sounds interesting, but no, I didn't catch that. Send a link if you can. Yeah, there's all sorts of color theory around different keys and whatnot, for sure. Let's end the pads. Oh, I know what's going on. I was disabling data mod instead of data synth. There we go. Nearly everything else is available for automation, but okay. Yeah, I think I'll open the release, accentuate the squeakiness with a little attack time. There we go. Get a bit more of that satellite tower in the background. Cool. It's kind of working. So funny. I think maybe I'll try pitching this one down. There we go. Just drop it down an octave with the old shift arrow. Okay, I want to see if we can create some image, like effect noises, but I just realized now for hygiene's sake, it's probably good if I rename these tracks something a little more sensible. Right, so that's our image perks. These are like the pads, right? Yep. And then this was like our chord situation. Cool. Let's go now and just see what we can do to get like some, you know, laser zap sort of sounds maybe. What being electro and all. Okay. Give it a little pitch envelope. There we go. That's harsh. Maybe I need to. Go ahead and add some LFO also to the fine pitch of the FM. Give it some noise. Oh, that's random. Oopsie daisy. What am I talking about? Oh yeah. Slow that down. Bring maybe the try and make this more of a sweet sort of sound. So that noise, it's not a separate noise oscillator, it's noise modulating the image oscillator. So I think I'm gonna copy this clip because I like those chords, and I'm just gonna take them all and shorten them, something like that. And then what I want to do is I'll just start it there, something like that. Yep. More or less what I was going for. But that last one's so dang long for some reason. Kind of working. Ah, I like the feedback. Nice one. Just a little dub delay on the. Oh, sorry, it's so loud, everybody. My bad. Okay. Let's again zoom in on that. Tower section. That's nice. Get the tree branches in there, nice and noisy. Yeah. There we go. Random on the FM pitch. Nice. Got a kind of call and response going there. Just dial that cut off back a little bit. Okay. See how it sounds without the pads. Kind of works. These image stabs, let's see, what was going on here again? some of them are nice, but it's not. Yeah, I remember the issue with the harmonic F now was it's one of those scales where there's some disagreement about whether a certain interval should be included or not. And I think it's switched back and forth once or twice, but I need to get it in agreement with Live's version of it here, or else it doesn't make much sense. Okay. We might be approaching something good here. These are kind of useful for like a little change-up section. I don't want them running for the whole track. Let's explore the other bass lines. So here's what I'm going to do. There we go. Just mute some of those higher notes until the final run. Just a little finesse work here. So it's still from the image, just, you know, manipulating a little bit here and there. Trying to make use of all these different bass lines we generated. That's kind of useful, except I don't know. I like having all of these notes together. There we go. Kept it the same pitch, octave up, still related to the image, close enough. Okay. One more. This one definitely sounds like a first take. Some people say first thought, best thought, but just exploring if there's something in here. There we go. Yeah, okay, all of these are useful now. So I think it's time to start kind of organizing this into a little tune here, as the prophecy foretold. And as was advertised in the live stream promo there, we're going to make a track with this one image, except for the drums. I know, the drums, but what are you going to do? We all need a little 808 in our lives, don't we? So let's see. I think I'm going to wing it. I'm not even going to name these. Okay, we need to revisit the pads, though. Nice tension builder, actually. Not the worst. What's going on here? I'm just going to get rid of that one. I think that was like our main one we were working with, and this was the alternate. Okay, I will rename this to lead. Call that long, because that's what it is. Call this one tension. Repeater. What's this one? Funky Town. What do we got here? I don't love that one after all. I had fun playing with it, but doesn't mean I need to use it. I feel like this was kind of our main one, although it's sounding a little busy to me now. Let's just reduce the chance on some of these. Image leads here. Okay, wait, what was this? Just call that alt. I'm not sure if that's really such a different vibe than the others. Okay. Now this is an electro tune, so that means it doesn't have to be doesn't have to be terribly long. And let's see, I have some maracas there and some other percussion. Okay, so I can have at least two different versions of this. Drums, we'll start without the maracas, without the rims, without the claps. And here we've got a full version with everything. Then we've got a version I can do here without the hi-hats. And finally, let's option drag this one and just put the snares to bed for a minute. Okay, how are we feeling? I think I have one more idea. I need to create one last splashy sound. This was full, right? And this is intro. Okay. Yep. We're doing it. One last data synth. Wrong instrument zone. All right. Arrangement is coming. Arrangement is coming. All right, what I want to do is just create a real dubby dub chord sort of sound that's going to come every 8 bars. And let's go. Let's do it a beat late. I mean, it's kind of close already. I just need another. Let's see. Here's a cool thing we can do. No, I'm not doing all that. I was going to do a bunch of like whether to play all of them and create different random chords. There's easier ways to do such things. Let's just get this chord stabbing here. Give it a little bit of the old filter envelope. Okay, basically there. I mean, what else do you need out of a dub chord stab? Maybe a little more reverb. There we go. And I think what I want to do is actually move some of these around every 8 bars, create a little different sort of variation. Like this one, I want to double like that. And I'm just kind of doing a little guesswork here. If you don't mind bearing with me, these ones are going to nudge over and go up for some reason. And this guy's going to go over 1. And now we have something like this. It's all a little bit too high pitched, in my opinion. Let's just grab all of them and drop it down an octave. There we go. Okay. Way too loud, obviously. Okay, so arrangement. Everyone's clamoring for the arrangement. And you know, I like to do this little homework in advance. Just kind of getting my clips ready here. And I don't know if I'm going to use these image stabs. I didn't love what was going on there. Everything else is kind of working. So let's go ahead and set this to an 8-bar launch quantization. And yeah, let's start with the dub stabs, and I'm just going to remove the stop buttons for those so it'll keep rolling. I don't think we want to really start with a repeater. I think we want to start with the Funky Town. And I'm just going to wing it from there. I'm not going to really worry about setting up scenes or anything, but the 8-bar launch quantization is crucial. Loop brace is off, because you know what I like to do is record it in real time, as some of you may be aware. So let's just arm this to record. And I don't know about starting with Funky Town either. Seems a little wild, but okay. Let's get these perks going. I think maybe it would have been better to start with the pads and the bass, but I can fix this in post. Heard a weird stutter there. Maybe that was something to do with the streaming. I wonder. Okay, let's get the tension pads out of there. Okay, let's get our little noisy going with the... Something keeps getting like triggered when I press a clip. Maybe that's a 12.2 beta thing. The leads probably could have come in there too, but it's never too late. Fix that in post. that bass line was the right call there. But again, fix all these things in post. I think I'll end the leads, bring in that long pad chord situation. Okay, now that's belaboring the point. I think it's time to wind this track down. I don't think the repeater needs to come back in there, right? I think one last run of the tension pads just to close it out. So yeah, I think there were moments there where it was just rolling when we were working away that maybe had a little more vibe or spirit I might want to capture, but I think I can tease it out of that arrangement. I think we can get it there. All right, let's see what we have over here in our arrangement. Yeah, that was, I didn't want that to happen. This was also not a good idea. And Funky Town was debatable to start. Let's check it out. Not so convinced on those dub stabs. They were a last minute throw in. Maybe it just needs a lower cutoff, higher resonance. Oh, and a shorter decay on the filter envelope. There we go. I'm not sure if those little bouncy perks need to stay in there, but so I mean, just look at all this musical information extracted from the same image. You know, there are all kinds of random generators out there, which I love, big fan of those, but by extracting musical data from an image, it connects to our lives in a different way. You know, there's some moment embedded there. Yeah, this section is working, I think. And then the chief issue with our repeater clip seems to be that it's just a little too high. There we go. Ah, that was the other issue, right? Was our leads were going to come in earlier with the repeater. I think, well, let's see. Yeah, the leads probably want to end here. I think no hats on here. The leads are sounding squeakier than I remember. Cheers, Kev. Good to hear. And, you know, for me it goes without saying, but it might not be clear to people tuning in for the first time that, of course, we can work outside of the scale and key. You can have everything chromatic in the, all possible notes available. All right. Awesome. That's great to hear. Cheers, Caper. Thanks for supporting. We didn't get into all of the tools today. There's some extra goodies in there for you. We focus more on the image stuff. You know, there's text sonification, video sonification. These are all part of the sonification bundle as well. But Photomat was the new addition that came out today. So, yeah, thanks for tuning in, everybody.